This Hangout on Air is live. So live from San Dimas, California. I'm Eric Becker. That's Ernie Villa and Maria Barajas over there. And this is the inaugural live YouTube broadcast of Dodgers Lowdown and our podcast. So we would like to welcome all of you. So far we have 0 viewers, so all 0 of you.
Oh, we haven't posted the link.
I posted links.
Oh, well, I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
I posted links. It should be linked in. Let me just double check to make sure that we've got the right link
live
up.
to nobody.
We are live to absolutely no one. See if I click on that, I should see us. The browser does not recognize any of the video formats available. What? Well, we've got 0 viewers. This could get a little bit interesting. So let's see. Is this the same? Now, Ernie, are you rolling and getting all this?
Yeah,
this is great. This is great stuff. So our listeners and broadcasters are probably going, "What is going on here?"
Oh, hold on there. I got it. I'll post it.
Okay, so hopefully this gets up and running.
It's not exactly live, but it's kind of live.
Let's see, is that the same? Yeah, there we go. So that's the right link. We are running with this, and if we get 0 viewers because of technical difficulties, we have 1 viewer. It's probably me.
It's me.
It's you. Okay. You are our 1 viewer. Ernie, welcome to welcome to the Dodgers Lowdown inaugural podcast. So this is great. So we have 2 viewers. We have 2 viewers. So greetings to our 2nd viewer, whoever or whatever you are, hopefully human. Once again, I'm Eric Becker. That's Ernie Villa, and Maria Barajas is over there peeking her head in. She doesn't want to be on film the whole time. So we are also recording
Maria will
this.
be the one you speak to when you call in at 626-578-5737. If you would like to participate in today's podcast.
Yes.
It's actually like a live vodcast.
It's like a podcast / live podcast.
We will be podcasting. It will be edited up on our site. So if you're hearing this now and you're not watching us live, well, then you got audio to your beautiful mugs.
And because we're just so on the fly, this is a free sponsorship for Arrowhead Water.
And Dodger Blue Monster.
And Dodger Blue Monster. So, really on the fly, first and foremost, we just like to thank all of you tuning in right now for joining us on this inaugural podcast or vodcast, and kind of bearing with us as we get the technical glitches worked out of it. And not only that,
it's launch day.
Not only that, but for being part of the launch day. We're very excited to have you all with us tonight. And we're hopefully going to have an entertaining show for you without too many technical difficulties. One of the things that I'm excited about this year, just in terms of what we're trying to accomplish, is that we can do live videos like what we're doing right now, hopefully with a little bit better organization. Now that we've got the technical
up on the fly.
Yeah, literally, we just decided, hey, we want to do this tonight, and we want to talk to all of you, and kind of so that we can work kinks out tonight. But we want to be putting together watch parties. We want to interact with all of you out there that are Dodger fans.
For that 70% that doesn't have Time Warner cable.
Yes, exactly.
We're going to try to do a little bit to help a little percentage of that, more so than the Dodgers are actually helping you with right now.
Hey, you know how you're missing out on all the fancy stuff? This is
your fancy stuff.
Your fancy
you're welcome.
And we do promise that it will get fancier. But one of the things that we want to do, unfortunately, he couldn't be here tonight, but Eric Versalovic is the founder of Dodgers Lowdown, and I know that he is very excited to really be up and launching again. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get him on our speakerphone right here. I mean, this is high quality stuff that we got. Technology bitches. Yeah, we are going to cuss because we can basically. So Eric, you're probably out there listening.
Oh, thank you, Ryan Walton, for watching us.
Ryan Walton is actually watching us. Ryan,
if you'd like to call in and give us your Dodger lowdown, go ahead and give us a call at 626-578-5737. 37. We'd love to hear from you.
But before we do that, I want to get Eric on the line just because I know he's had a long day today. Unfortunately, couldn't be with us. He was
dealing with some personal stuff,
which we all do. But he's very excited to have launched, and I'm going to go ahead and get him on the phone. So, Eric, I don't know what the delay is, so you might hear this after I call you, but we're calling you now, buddy.
The delay is about 20 seconds, maybe 30.
Okay, then about that time he'll figure it out. So.
Don't give his number out.
Oh, well, I think. Oh, yeah, we got sent a voicemail, so.
Thanks,
we'll try Eric back. I mean, it says, I'm not going to give away the number here, but it actually says owner Dodgers LowDown on his iPad, on his iPhone thing. So, me. There's a little thing down here. This is
video, so that I don't look like a Smurf.
Do you still look like a Smurf?
No, I mean you can pick it up a little bit.
How far?
All right.
Right there. Okay. So.
Let's talk about Dodgers.
Let's talk Dodgers because that is indeed what we're here for, and we've been rambling about technical issues. I already lost a viewer. We turned somebody off. They went and signed up for Time Warner.
All right. Well, like we were talking about earlier, the rotation. Let's talk about well, I mean, you got King Kershaw. You don't have to really worry about him much. Greinke. I mean, the only real thing about Greinke is re-signing in the offseason or opting out, and he already said that he's going to put that off until the end of the season, which, I mean, obviously you get because you don't want that lingering and whatever. And he wants to see how the team's going to do. He doesn't exactly trust the lineup right now, and I don't know why, but that's how he feels, and that's how he feels. That's why he's making the big bucks. But as far as Rue, Anderson, McCarthy, whatever role what 3, 4, 5 you want to put them, there is some significant injury risk to each of them.
There is.
Rue missed quite a bit of time last year. He's still very efficient when he did pitch, and he was one of our nails in the playoffs. Unfortunately, just Kershaw kind of just fell flat because Donnie left him in there a little too long. However, as far as the new guys Anderson and McCarthy come, I think McCarthy is going to be tremendous addition to this rotation. Giving him 4 years, being injury prone kind of hurts, but in the long term of the contract, the average annual value of the contract makes it a lot easier to swallow. The Anderson deal, though, on the 1 year, $10 million with the options or with the incentives to make I think another $4 million, is that's gonna be a contract I think he's gonna outpitch his contract if that's possible for a $10 million guy.
Well, it's a low risk, high reward kind of deal, and yes, $10 million is kind of hard to say that that's actually low risk because it is a lot of money, but it's the fact that it's a lock in for only 1 year. If he comes out and he either doesn't do well or he has injury problems, you've only got the 1 year dedication to it. If he comes out and he pitches very well, then he's going to be worth that $10 million and then some. And what's interesting is if you look at Brett Anderson and his injury history, for the last 4 or 5 years, he really hasn't had an arm problem. It's been little things.
Nicks in his back, and I don't really think he's had much arm troubles. I know it's been like the lower half. So
it's been mostly the lower half. The arm is healthy on him. And what's interesting to me is when we signed Anderson, Clayton Kershaw sent a text message to A.J. Ellis and basically said, this guy has the best stuff. I mean, this guy has this is Clayton Kershaw saying that basically this guy's got better stuff than him. And
when healthy.
Yeah, when healthy, obviously. And Clayton Kershaw has, I mean, yeah, he's only won 3 of the last 4 Cy Young awards. Let's be serious. R.A. Dickey, as great a season as he had, that should have been 4. It should have been 4.
It should have.
He's got 4. He's got 3.
He's got 3 Cy Youngs.
So
he should have had 4. See,
well,
everybody felt bad because
it's because R.A. Dickey got touched as a little boy or whatever, and he wrote a book about it.
Yeah.
What an asshole!
Oh,
you
wow.
don't hear. I don't know. You're not giving any Cy Young awards to any of the people that Bill Cosby touched. It's not really cool.
No, man.
Sorry, I know.
Yo.
I'm kidding. I love Uncle Bill.
Well, I mean, what it comes down to is that you've got this great-looking starting five as long as everybody's healthy. I mean, Brandon McCarthy, and yes, if you look over the course of his career, some of those stat lines aren't that great. He really seemed to find himself in New York last year, during the
in a
second half
small
of the
park
season.
too.
In a small park. And which pitch was it that they weren't letting him throw in Arizona? That all of a sudden he was allowed to throw at Yankee Stadium? That resulted.
Cutter?
I think it was the cutter. That sounds right. All of a sudden, he has that one additional pitch into the scheme of things, and he becomes a really effective pitcher.
That cutter helped Mariano to a Hall of Fame career. So,
I mean, the cutter's an effective pitch. I mean, Kelly Jansen, obviously one of the best in the game. Unfortunately, out until
people are jumping off the handle as I wrote on Dodgers LowDown the other day. It's just ridiculous the amount of people that are throwing all this vile at Kenley in it.
It's very strange.
Comparing them to Shaq. I mean, yeah, they're kind of the same size, but Jesus Christ, you're acting like the guy knew he had a foot problem.
It has been
waited until spring training to do something about it, and I mean, nobody wants to be out on spring training. It's a time when you're on an even playing field with everybody. Unless you're someone like Pablo Sandoval, you don't want to not be training. Like, some guys are pro early. As a matter of fact, I believe almost every one of the Dodgers has reported except for Peralta and Nicasio. I know they'll be there tomorrow. Right. But to see Puig, I mean, I had a little issue with Puig being a little overweight, but I guess it's just the guy likes to do barbecue, likes to eat it a lot. And I don't mind that. I like to eat barbecue too, but the Dodgers aren't counting on me to hit 30 home runs and drive in 100 runs for the first time in my career. So, which kind of segues us into the loss of Matt Kemp and Hanley Ramirez. I know a lot of you guys are like, what are we going to do for power? What are we going to do for power? What are we going to do? Well, we didn't really do much for power last year. Hanley had about 15 home runs. Kemp
wasn't even 15, it was 13.
13 home runs.
And most of those came in the first half. Down the stretch, I saw him hit one home run to walk off an extra innings game. And other than that, I don't know that he hit a home run in August or September. And I mean, our listeners may have a better idea there, but just to my immediate recall, that's the only home run that I personally remember him really hitting down the stretch. Kemp, of course, had a monster second half.
True, he did, but
at the same time,
that's when all the pressure's off for Kemp, because we were already I mean, I don't want to talk ill about Matt Kemp because he did a lot of great things for us coming up, and I cheered for him plenty of times. But what really irritated me was coming to the ballpark as a season ticket holder and being there almost every game, and not knowing what you're going to get out of a certain player, whether it be Hanley or Kemp. Kind of like, oh, the seventh inning, I know that Miguel Rojas is coming in, and now our lineup sucks because Rojas is in the 4-hole or the 5-hole because that's where Hanley is. And now Hanley has to come out for different purposes because we have a lead. Or with Kemp running down first base, yeah, he's fast as hell, but you worry about him pulling a hammy or ripping a hammy, or say he's running in the field and you don't want him to overexert himself because he's going to get hurt because he's shown the long-term issues that have consistently put him on the disabled list. And it started with the whole running into the wall in Colorado. Yes, we're grateful that you put your body on the line, but like you were saying earlier, on the other side of 30, it's almost like we sold high for a guy that probably shouldn't have netted us as much as it did. I mean, we in the grand scheme of things, when we sold everybody and got the parts that we got back, I love Chris Hatcher and I love Howie Kendrick. As far as D. Gordon goes, thanks for a good first half. See you for the second half. Well,
and it was like I was saying earlier, we had some pre-show wrap. I kind of wish we had that on film because we had some good discussion going there too. But I was talking about the problem that I had with D. Gordon last year. Great first half, and I definitely give the guy credit for putting in the work he did to improve his game, because he did improve his game. There's no denying it. But you get to the second half, and all of a sudden he has to take a day off here and 2 days off there because he's having problems with the legs. And my concern about a guy like D. Gordon, as much work as he put in, is here he is in his mid-20s needing days off, and he's supposed to be the starting second baseman. And unless he's actually got injuries of note, it's a little weird to me that he's just having fatigue issues at that point. And I understand that guys get fatigued and they need days off, but down the stretch, you should be in that lineup every day. Is my impression. Anyway, Eric says that he's actually ready to get on the line if you want to get him on right now.
Yeah, 1 second though. Our buddy Ryan Walton, you can follow him at Ryan Walton, VBN. He said that Puig came in last year a little bit overweight also, and I do remember him coming in over 16 pounds, I believe it was. And I guess we're supposed to get accustomed to that. It's better to have him have a little bit of weight going into the season. So because towards the end of the season, the wear and tear on your body, you tend to lose a lot of weight. However, Puig was like at Mandy, who's part of Dodgers LowDown. I don't remember the exact weight, but he was a little higher than you, like 230 or something like that, 235.
First caller.
Oh, we got a caller.
We do have a
Chris. Wants to talk about shopping Ethier and why trade Kemp. Chris, go ahead.
Oh, is he on speaker?
Yeah. Chris?
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good, man. How's it going?
Good. Yeah, I just wanted to ask, because so I'm seeing that they're trying to shop Ethier around, and I'm curious, why trade Kemp if you're going to dump Ethier anyway?
Well, I think the thinking behind that is that you got Puig in right, and you got Crawford in left, which are pretty set, and then you got Jock Peterson in center, but they did bring in Chris Heisley to be kind of like a safety net. But your question is why trade Kemp and not Ethier?
Well, because I had the preference of the two, I'd trade Ethier. I think just what anybody would, but it sounds like already, so you kind of answered my question already. Is, I'm not wondering if you get one or the other for the Vodcast, but is Jock Peterson ready to start right now?
I think that's the $1 million question right now. Everything that he's done, he's succeeded at every level in the minor leagues. And I know that is the minor leagues, but he has succeeded. And in doing so, he was the first player in 70-plus years to go 30-30 in the PCL.
Yeah, the Pacific Coast League. And that, even with the Albuquerque altitude, that's a big deal.
Yeah, and so, every indication is this guy is legit. Think like a Raul Mondesi or Jock's kind of his own beast because he's the best center fielder we have in our organization, top to bottom, and it's hard to say he's not ready because he's shown that he is. The sample size we have in the majors is only 100 at bat, or less than 100 at bats.
Less than 100 at bats. Defensively, clearly he can field the position. That's not the issue.
But
offensively,
like you said, why not trade Ethier? I'm sure everybody wanted to trade Ethier.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think we need to take. I read earlier about Ubaldo Jimenez for Ethier plus like $10 million. I don't think that's a deal we need to make right this second. I think Mattingly's done an exceptional job at molding Ethier's ego and making him realize that he's got about $39 million left coming. So whether he's on the field or not, to give up the best, to be the best player he can be for this team. So I wouldn't mind holding on to Ethier because you never know. Ethier might be our starting center fielder come opening day if Jock fails or Jock comes out of the box a little slow. And so we're set there. The main thing that Friedman's brought up is Andrew Friedman, the new president, is depth. We have it all over. Go ahead.
What level of confidence do you have in Peterson being successful in the majors?
Honestly, I'm probably the wrong person to ask because I fell in love with this guy when he was at Rancho. So, I honestly think he's a perennial all-star. I don't know if he's an MVP like Trout, but I mean, in my personal opinion and all the research that I've done and followed this guy, I'd say he's Trout light. His glove is excellent. But hey, man, thanks for giving us a call and go and follow us. And And call in next week.
Of course, man.
All right, appreciate it, bro. Have a good one.
Thank you, Chris. Glad to have you on the show. And now we're going to get back to Eric Versalovic, who says he's now ready to chat. Let's bring on the boss man, and he can have a little chat with us about what his thoughts are on this day. And he had actually something he wanted to weigh in with, because he's got a correction on you. He texted it over. So we're going to get Eric on the line now. And
is he talking about how great Justin Turner is?
Shout out to Red.
Let's put Justin Turner in center field.
Whoa, that didn't work either. Let me
have him call on the line.
Eric, if you can hear us, the phone number here is 626-578-5737. And actually, Ernie's phone's a little bit louder than mine on the speaker. If you could call that, we'll get you in, and we'll get you in talking that way. So go ahead and do that when you have a chance. Wait, he's calling right now. Let me see. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Hey!
Now you're coming in clearer too.
What's up, boss?
What's up?
So we're just,
I'm watching you fools on YouTube right now.
We're here for you.
We are here for you.
Wave at the camera. Wave at the camera.
You will see us in about 20 seconds. But anyway, you had a little correction on Ernie that you messaged over to me. Go ahead with that.
Correction and retractions?
Yeah, Ernie, you said that Peralta and Acancio didn't show up. It's actually Peralta and Jimmy Garcia.
Sorry. I got my Dominicans mixed up.
So corrections and retractions on the air.
I'm a stickler for detail, so I had to call you out on that one.
But is Justin Turner there?
Huh?
Is Justin Turner there?
He is.
Justin Turner's probably been there since November. Knowing Justin, he's one of those guys.
He's been sweeping the dugout.
But anyway, big day today, obviously, for LowDown. You've been working on this for 2 years, and I mean, honestly, we couldn't be doing what we did today or what we're doing right now on this podcast if it weren't for all of the work that you've been putting in. And we just kind of like to have your thoughts about where we've been and where we're going.
Well, I mean, it's been a fun ride. I mean, when I started this page, by myself, about 2 years ago, I didn't think it would, get to where it is now. I mean, I had the thought that it could happen, but I didn't think it would. But I mean, it's pretty crazy to see the fact that it went from a page that I started just on Facebook out of, because I left a different page to now we're at almost 80,000 followers on Facebook, and we've got, 20, 25 people working on this page now. It's insane.
Oh, it's
a credit to you, sir. It's a credit to you.
It's a credit. Excuse me. I've got a little something in my throat. That came out wrong.
Hey-o.
Hey-o.
This is a different type of podcast.
But yeah, I mean, it's been a real rush the last couple of weeks, and I mean, we're still in progress getting some of these people on board and starting with writing assignments. But I'm really excited, just with the reaction that we're getting from the blogger community, from people wanting to write for us, just people talking all over. Heck, we just had a drunk guy. I asked him.
He asked me if we took meth.
I asked him if he was on meth because he just was not making sense on our site. But
yeah, I saw that. Let's just say I took an administrative measure with him.
We were trying to figure that out. We appreciate that.
Yeah,
but
that's
but most of our viewers and most of our subscribers, we don't have that problem. Every once in a while, we have a problem child, and unfortunately, they go the way of the dodo when that happens. But for the most part, out of our 77,000, we cleared 77 for today.
Yeah, and I'd like to, I told you all today that I'd like to hit 80 by the end of the month. So we got 9 days to work our ass off.
I think we'll get there. Hey, boss.
What?
Izzy Nude on YouTube wants to know if you know anything about the international signings, or you got an update.
Oh, okay. Well, as of right now, about Moncada and Oliveira and the other guys from Islani Bell to Jorge Hernandez to Yair Alvarez to Andy Ibanez. I mean, the list goes on and on.
When do you see a signing coming?
It's right now. I bet Moncada will probably be, I'm hoping within the next week. I mean, he's just starting to get offers in right now, so probably, the next couple days, hopefully, maybe, they said that he was supposed to take a decision by today, and that went to hell, so.
Yeah.
So hopefully he'll likely be the first domino to fall. Everyone's waiting to see what Moncada did. He's pretty much the Masahiro Tanaka this offseason. As soon as he falls, you're going to see Ibanez and Oliveira once Oliveira's cleared, and these other Cubans start falling off, one by one as soon as Moncada signs because everyone's trying to budget for Moncada.
Yeah. I think we're going to sign both of them, to be honest, but we'll get into that in a little bit.
Okay.
We actually have a caller if you want to stay on, boss, and take this call with us.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
We may have to repeat what the caller's saying because I don't know how loudly you'll be able to hear them across the room, but bear with us. Great technology. One phone, two phone.
Hey, Mario? Mario. Hey, how's it going, man? What can we do for you? Okay, 1 second. Let me
go ahead and repeat the question.
So he wanted to know if you had to choose between Oliveira and Moncada, which one would you choose and why?
Okay, who wants to start with the question with the answer?
I want both of them, but I love Moncada. I think Moncada is the third baseman of the future for the Dodgers, or the second baseman of the future. But I really do think he's the third baseman of the future. My future infield is Gonzalez, Kendrick, Seager, and Moncada. I don't see very many holes there, and yeah. I think we sign both Oliveira in the short term because he's 29, and then Moncada when he's ready. 2 years. Boss?
Okay, I agree with you on that. I believe that we will sign him too. I have a little bit of a different shakeup though.
Yeah, 1 second.
I think with Moncada, I think because of the fact that he's pretty much more deemed as going to be either a second baseman or third, or I've even heard some talk about him maybe being a left fielder. With him being, a year or two away, maybe they sign Oliveira, they sign Moncada, and by then we could be looking at a hole in left field with Crawford getting up there. Maybe see a thing of Gonzalez, Kendrick, Seager, Oliveira at third, with Moncada in left, along with Peterson and Wheat.
That's another possibility.
Yeah,
indeed.
Do you have another question, Mario, or do we answer for you? We have enough money to sign God.
Wait, did he ask that the team that has the money?
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
If we have enough money to sign Moncada?
Both. If we have enough money to sign both.
I believe we have enough money to sign both if we indeed do want to sign both.
I agree. I think for the fans out there that have been complaining all offseason that we've been cutting money and we've been cutting payroll and we're not signing guys like James Shields or, spending $10 million on Francisco Rodriguez. I think the reason is we're trying to reallocate that money into younger guys that are going to help this team not only now, but years from now, versus signing a guy that's 33 that's only going to be good for a year or two.
Just in from our buddy Ryan Walton at Ryan Walton VBN on Twitter. He said Moncada's agent has set a soft deadline for a choice for February 23rd.
Okay, so we're pretty much right around the end of the weekend. I mean,
Yeah.
So, it sounds like it's just getting pushed back a couple of days. I think it's likely because they were probably expecting the offers to come in from Makata earlier in the week, and they didn't get them till like Wednesday or Thursday. So he's probably rifling through the offers, probably doing counter and stuff like that. So it's probably taking the process got pushed back a couple days. So that makes sense.
Boss, we have some questions on YouTube that I'm gonna throw them out there to you. How do you replace 64 stolen bases?
How do you what?
How do you replace 64 stolen bases?
In essence, how do you replace D. Gordon's production on the base
I
pass?
know, and I think everybody else knows, but John Izzy Nude wants to know, how do you replace 64 stolen bases?
Well, I mean, you can't. For one, if you have a lineup that actually has guys from 1 through 3 or 1 through 7 that actually steal a little bit here and there, you can make up that total from one guy. I mean, Gordon essentially was one guy that was stealing bases. Now we have Rollins can still steal them. We have, Peterson is going to probably, steal some bases. He's been projected as possibly being like a 15-20 steal guy. We're not going to have a guy that's going to have, 50-60 stolen bases this year. But if you look down the stretch last season when we had to face tougher opponents, Gordon was standing at first when we needed a stolen base, and so.
I agree. I think overall we may have more stolen bases. Whoever's going to play third besides Uribe will probably get about 20 stolen bases. I really do think Jimmy Rollins is an 18 to 20 stolen base guy still. Kendrick has never been a burner, but given the amount of runs I'm expecting us to score and the ability to hit behind him, I think a lot of hit and runs. So he may get caught up in 15, 20 stolen bases. Like you said, with Peterson, I don't project him to have 30 stolen bases in the bigs because just basic learning, just like Puig. But with him and Puig combined, I can see 40 bases stolen. And Crawford still got a little speed in those old legs. So, I mean, that right there is where you replaced your 64 stolen bases. Is he nude?
Well, and then you also forgot the X factor, which is Puig. If Puig is in pretty good shape and ready to run, which he's preparing to run more this offseason, that's another thing. So I mean, there's always the factor of what is Puig going to do. So I think, I agree with you. I think as a lineup as a whole, I think we'll more than make up for the stolen bases. And realistically, 64 stolen bases is all fine and dandy and everything, but if we're not driving the runs in, it doesn't mean crap.
I agree. And a lot more situational hitters are part of this team rather than the one big bopper or the two big boppers that you need to hit a 3-run home run in order to compete. Rather than having, I honestly think we left about 300 runners that not just left on base, but 300 runs that could have scored if we had less selfish hitting. Instead of going the opposite way and allowing a guy to score, you try to pull the ball because you're a pull hitter. And I think that was a big flaw in the lineup. And to be honest, the chemistry on this team is already pretty high from all the Twitter things we see between McCarthy and Anderson and AJ Ellis and Kershaw. And you had more detractors, I think, last season with the Kemps and with the Hanley Ramirez's because Hanley was a funny guy on Instagram, but it was more him making fun of Uribe all the time. And if we can't count on you, then we'll watch you 84,000 times on ESPN on Sunday Night Baseball because they love.
Well, I mean that's the whole thing. Is ESPN? They love their Red Sox Yankees. West Coast bias is about Giants Dodgers. We're talking real rivalry. We're talking about something that goes back, even further.
We also had another question from John Bleed and Blue. He said, if Mattingly had trouble with the bridge to Jansen and it costed the playoffs in 2014, Now that Jansen is gone, the bridge leads to who? And how does this affect Mattingly?
Well, interesting question. I mean, I personally think looking at the arms that we have right now on the team, I mean, hell, we have in competition, we're going to have about 15, 20 guys competing for those 7 spots.
Real quick, hey John, if you really want to know about it, you can read my article on westcoastbiassport.com.
Or you can read mine where I anoint Pedro Baez. But yeah, there's a lot of information out there already circulating on our website about this very topic. You know, as far as
not only that, but last night on Dodger Talk, Josh Bird said that he feels that Chris Hatcher could possibly be the leading candidate to fill in for Saints, which is kind of ironic considering that our closer is a converted catcher and he might get replaced by a guy that was also a converted catcher.
Which was basically the steal of that trade too, which was a throw-in at the end. And I love Hatcher. I love Hatcher. I actually made him a meme or a picture for his Twitter, and he used it. And he actually liked it because it was more of a play on what McCarthy and Anderson did when they weren't announced yet. So we have another question. So who's the bridge? Who do you think is the bridge? I actually think, and I want more credit for this because at 4 o'clock in the morning when I finished my article, I put in that the Dodgers should sign Joe Chamberlain, and then Rosenthal tweets it at 7 a.m. And all of a sudden, Rosenthal had this epiphany that the Dodgers should get Joe Chamberlain.
Well, it's because Rosenthal is following West Coast Bias Sports. We are the new leech source for Ken Rosenthal. How's it going, Kenny? Anyway, but yeah, as far as the bridge to Jansen once he comes back, I think Pedro Baez. You know, this is one of the reasons I recommend him for the closer role. I think he's got that mentality where you can step in and shut guys down. J.P. Howell, utilized right, is going to be a part of that bridge. I see him more as a 6th, 7th inning guy, but I think that he's going to come up huge for us again this year in sort of those middle inning swing situations. A guy that is sort of a wild card for me is Paco Rodriguez, and we saw him have great success in 2013. Steven Paco Rodriguez?
No, it's just Steven. Your mother doesn't name you Paco. Your mother names you Steven Rodriguez.
Right now, with the way Paco's struggling, he will be called Steven until otherwise.
Exactly.
Oh my God, that's
Thank
what
you, boss.
always
That's what I said. I said it
so
every time that Eric Smith, the announcer for the Dodgers live, says, now coming in, Paco Rodriguez. I'm like, it's Steven. He hasn't earned Paco yet.
He corrected me on our first date, by the way.
It reminds me of the situation a couple of years ago when Ozzie Guillen was the manager of the Marlins. And Giancarlo Stanton was struggling, and he's like, I would really like to see Mike Stanton, not Giancarlo. It's a similar situation. We'd really like to see Paco Rodriguez, not Steven.
Exactly.
Yes, we would
like
love to see Paco back.
too.
We would love to see Paco come back to form because he right now he's a wild card to me. If he can come back to form like he did in 2013, then I think he can be a tremendous asset to our bullpen. But if not, then you've got to take a look at guys like Daniel Colomb, who actually throws some pretty impressive heat for a lefty.
Just sent me a text saying the bullpen is mostly in shambles. It stunk down the stretch, and they didn't address the issue. I don't think you've been reading anything we wrote this offseason.
I completely disagree. I think that they've done a lot. All right, Eric is going to answer. Eric V is going to answer. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. Go ahead.
So, with the bullpen being quote-unquote in shambles, we replaced all the weaknesses in the bullpen. Ryan Wilson, gone. Jamie Wright, gone. Chris Perez, gone. All these weaknesses that were in the bullpen last year that were a detriment to the team for most part of the season, and then Coletti was hung up on not getting rid of them, are gone. We replaced these guys that are actually going to be hungry enough that are going to compete and not feel that they're self-entitled to a spot just because of how much money they make. You know, we have guys like David Hartman that's been working his ass off to get ready. You know, Sergio Santos, who's a modern day that he's been injured and has question marks, and he has to prove himself. Then you have young arms like Jimmy Garcia, Pedro Baez, Daniel Colon,
Chris Reed.
Chris Reed, yeah, exactly. I mean, you have guys up and down that are going to be competing, and last I checked, competition breeds success. These guys are going to compete and are not going to be given a spot just because, their name's Brian Wilson and they're making $10-15 million.
And they have beautiful beards. Beautiful beards.
They're all the same level.
Hey, Chris Hatcher has an awesome beard. He's going to be excellent.
He does. Chris Hatcher, he's got an awesome beard, and according to Ernie, he's going to be excellent. And I think that is the case.
According to some people, I actually saw that apparently because Chris Perez and Brian Wilson are big failures because of their beard, that they're scared to sign anyone that has a beard. So they were opposed to signing Jobber Chamberlain because he has a Chris Perez, Brian Wilson-like beard. So people are out on the beard now.
He's got the hair to match.
He does.
So
He does.
Maybe we should just cut JP Howell and Chris Hatcher before we even give them a chance because they have beards.
They have beards. They're going to ruin us.
Or like some poster tried to tell me yesterday that Jock Peterson is trash and he's overrated.
Yeah, well, it's funny. Bringing up your point earlier, Ernie, about the whole, how this team is more backing each other up. You see how the guys are, backing each other and all that. Earlier in the offseason, when I saw people on Twitter bashing Jock Peterson, two guys that actually came to his defense were Scott Van Slyke and Justin Turner.
Yep.
They were like, pretty much basically saying like, hey, you know what? Leave the kid alone. The kid, people are like, oh, well, look what he did last year in September. It's like, okay, you know what? Let me tell you this. Why don't you go stand on that field in front of 50,000 people that's cheering for you to be successful, face major league hitting that you haven't seen before, and see if you can hit it in play.
Yeah, 1,000%. You couldn't be more right. And it sucks the expectation levels on the guy, but I think we're kind of anointing him. I've called him Trout Light, but the fact that we're judging him so early without even giving him a fighting chance. Just a little trivia to those fans that love Puig. Just to let you know that if Jock Peterson didn't get sick the week that they brought up Puig, Peterson would be up right now, and we'd be talking about bringing up Yasiel. Just to let you know.
Exactly. It cracks me up with people how wishy-washy they are with some of these players. For example, I just was in an argument earlier with a so-called fan that was saying how they should have used Dave Harrison in the playoffs, and it was like, weren't you the same fan that was bashing him when he was going through his struggles earlier in the season, and all these fans that wanted his head earlier in the year, and then we're trying to, be like, oh, well, we need to use him. He pitched great for us. It's like, people like the guy when he pitches great, but then when a guy struggles, they're the first one to kick their ass out.
All right.
We have a caller from North Dakota.
Wow.
And this is Izzy Nude, and I think he has an issue with you. So hold on.
Oh, I'm gonna have to bring this over.
Izzy.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you calling in and listening, by the way.
No, subscribe to your webpage or Facebook. I love the information that you guys provide. Been a lifelong Dodger fan. I actually moved to Glendale last year, and so I plan on hanging out at
Awesome, man. That's awesome. Maybe you can come to one of our meetups that we're planning this season.
I'd love to.
Cool. What you have a question for either Eric Becker, or myself?
Well, it's really not so much of a question. It's still related to the bullpen. And
Sure.
I was happy to see
Hold on real quick. Izzy, hold on real quick. Eric, can you hear him?
Yeah, I can hear him.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Go ahead, Izzy.
Yeah, I'm glad that Wilson is gone. I'm glad Perez is gone. Not only is there BS that we had to put up with them and the high price tag, I just don't see what they should replace them with as being anything better. They may be hungry, but statistically, I don't think that they have really proven themselves. I still see our mid-reliefs and long reliefs just kind of being subpar.
Well, Hatcher alone is going to make a big difference. He's a go-to guy. But you're a little right. But also the development of the guys that we've had last year that were so young and green to say, like a Baez, like a Frias, like Colum, like Garcia. They didn't have any experience under their belts, and now they do. And so that going forward will only make them that much better. If you include the fact that Hatcher's there and the mild success that Brandon League had towards the end of the season, I'm pretty excited about that. Hopefully Rodriguez bounces back and we pick up a diamond in the rough with Artma or Santos. Santos and Artma are both former 30-game save guys. So there's no reason to say they don't have the makeup to do it. It's just injuries or personal problems or whatnot. I know Dylan Hernandez had a really good article the other day about Santos, saying how hard he's working to get back because he's got mouths to feed. And just like everybody else, it's good to see that hunger from a baseball player that you think they have easy lives and they don't.
Yeah, I
they were both great save guys at one time. They both said that they were putting in work, and they still got really poor performance for $20 million.
I get what you're saying. The Brian Wilson thing was because he sold a lot of T-shirts and a lot of fake beards.
He did.
And
there's definitely merch incentive even if he didn't perform.
And Chris Perez, I mean, how can you really trust a guy who sent a pretty good amount of marijuana to his house in his dog's name?
Well, on a side note with Wilson, if you really look deep into the fact that if you look at his numbers, his second half numbers were actually much better than his first half. His first half numbers, he allowed 20 earned runs. His second half, he only allowed 6. So people want to look at the numbers. You got to really dive deep into looking at the numbers. Oh, well, he's got a high ERA. Or, oh, he's got this. You have to really dive deep. You have to look at the split. You have to look at the situation that the guys were put in. Like, for example, with Juan Nicasio. Nicasio had an ERA of 5, but this is a guy that was shifted by Colorado, which realistically, everyone knows Colorado doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. Colorado,
that's true, boss.
That's true.
You look at Nicasio, they flipped him between being a starter to a reliever, back to a starter, back to a reliever again. And hell, on MLB Network, John Smoltz has said before during his career, you can't go into a season where you're not determined what your role is. You have to have a set role so you can prepare for that role. So to do that, for a Hall of Fame pitcher to say that, then you're expecting a mid-20-year-old to master this, back and forth kind of a role and not have any struggles. It's ridiculous. I mean, then if you look at Nicasio when they shifted him to a full-time reliever spot in September, he allowed 1 earned run in about, I believe, between 10 to 15 innings. So, and his velocity went up. He went from a 94, 95 to 97, 98. So
also, don't forget about Peralta. Peralta was Tampa Bay's best reliever last year.
That's true.
yeah, well, and also
What's that?
Hang on 1 second.
He's also like 42 years old now.
Peralta, how old is
I don't know
Peralta?
how old Peralta is.
He is on the old side. I do remember that. Eric, do you know how old Peralta is?
Peralta's in his late 30s. I think he's like 37, 38. But, with Peralta, no one seems to realize his ass into the ground.
You know who else?
Something like that.
Well, Schmidt and Dan Dreifert are two complete, and basically Kevin Brown are three guys that I just like to forget they wore Dodger uniforms.
True.
But also Adam Libertion, did I say it right?
Is it Liberatore? How do you?
Yeah.
Liberatore.
He's actually a pretty damn good pitcher too. So we have the arms, maybe not the sexiest names, but I can't help but like what the direction we're going.
I mean, if you look at what Tampa Bay and Oakland have done the past couple of years, they won games with no name bullpens, and then those guys became big names because of their success. I mean, hell, you look at teams in our own division. Their bullpen was one of the top bullpens in the league. Can anybody name anyone in that bullpen aside from Quackenbush and Benoit? Can anyone name anyone in that pen?
Pretty much no. I mean, if I can chime in for a second, I mean, we brought in some sabermetrics guys, obviously, and offensively you can pick a lot of things apart with sabermetrics, and defensively you can do it. And with pitching, for starting pitching, I think it rings true. Bullpens to me are a wild card, and yes, you can measure some things with it, but it just seems to me like you'll have relievers that they come in and they have 2 or 3 really good years, and then they might be down for 2 or 3 years, and suddenly have
a G with San Diego, and then he went to Texas and
went down the toilet.
Hey, Izzy, we're gonna let you go, but thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. We want to open up the line for other callers, but thank you and call back again.
Yeah, we definitely want to have you on again, Izzy. We look forward to seeing you at the ballpark if you can make it out.
Yeah, I'll definitely make sure that I make it up.
Sounds good, man. Have a good night.
All right.
While we're on the topic,
Sure.
I'd like to point out that one thing that relies on the bullpen being successful is it's got to be our starting rotation. Our starting rotation has to be healthy.
True.
Last year, if you look at it, the start of the season when the bullpen was struggling and ineffective, you had Clayton down with an injury. Rue was off and on the DL. Beckett was dealing with stuff. Karen was struggling. When you have, a night in, night out basis where the bullpen having to throw, 3-4 innings a night, you're going to have struggles. You're going to have wear and tear. And that caught up with us at the end of the season because, unfortunately, the rotation was never fully able to bounce back. So, if we have a rotation fully healthy and ready to go, and these guys come in and I'm not saying they have to throw a complete game every night, but if they throw, 7 innings minimum, 9 times out of 10, that's going to greatly help the bullpen because it's going to take innings off of their shoulders. So
True.
That's going to come into, Clayton's got to step up, Frankie, I know people love him, but one thing I knock against him is the fact that he's getting paid that much money, but he doesn't go deep into games as often. We need him to go, start going more 7-8 innings like Clayton does.
Consistently, right? Because he can do it some nights, but then there's other nights he gets through 5 2/3 or 6 and he's done.
Yeah, there's sometimes he gets to be too much of a perfectionist where he's trying to get a guy out a certain way versus just put the ball in play and get him out on 2 pitches versus
just firing that fucking pigskin.
Yeah, I mean,
just firing that fucking pigskin.
Just roll it on in there and make the guy take a swing at
Hey,
it.
speaking of starting rotation, who do you guys think? Which pitching prospect do you think will emerge with a big league club first? You got like a Grant Holmes, Zach Lee, Julio Urias, Anderson, with the kid we got from San Diego. Who do you guys think? Wheeland.
I would probably say based on, I'd probably go with either Weiland or Lee.
I'm almost ready to close the book on Zach Lee, to be honest with you.
Yeah, over the winter, I mean, just anytime I talk to anybody and then we'd be talking about, oh, let's trade for Hamels or let's trade for whoever, I always included Zach Lee in those talks because I'm at a point where I'm ready to give up on the guy just based on what I've seen. Even when he's been good, he hasn't seemed that good to me. Now, to his credit, though, and I will say this really quick, he did work with someone over the offseason who has a history also of working with Clayton Kershaw. So, I mean, he might be one of those guys who comes out in the spring, and if you have injuries to a McCarthy or to an Anderson, he might sneak in and steal that fifth spot if the work that he's been putting in the offseason has really been that effective.
I was a big, again, just like Jock, I was a big Zach Lee guy. I thought he's going to solve all our problems. He's going to be a right-handed Kershaw, and that was it. He was going to displace Chad Billingsley, and he was going to come up and just be awesome sauce, and we never saw it. We haven't seen it yet. And to the Dodgers' discredit, they haven't really given him an opportunity. I think Nate Eovaldi was up way before they even talked about Zach Lee coming up.
Oh yeah, Eovaldi. I mean, Eovaldi's got a great fastball, but he's got to learn to pitch.
He's one of my fantasy sleepers, which we'll probably get into maybe later in another podcast.
Yes,
Eovaldi's got a sick arm, and he's going to be a strikeout guy for the Yankees.
He does indeed have a sick arm, and that's a guy where if he figures it out, I would love to see what he can do because he does have ace potential. He kind of reminds me of is a Max Scherzer type.
Yeah, except he's got the same color eyes.
Yeah, that's true. Scherzer with the eyes, but I mean, in terms of the stuff, the pure velocity on the fastball, maybe not a deep into games guy. Maybe more like a 6-7 inning guy, but he has that heat. And if he can develop a good secondary pitch and even a passable third pitch, I think that, he's got sort of a Scherzer potential.
We have another question from Mauro Garcia. He asked, who do you guys think will be an increase in production, and who do you see a decrease in production? Like, who do we expect to be better this year, and who do we expect to kind of fall off a little bit this year? I'll tell you one for falling off. Uribe.
Well, I mean, how old is he? He's going into his age 34 season. Although it's interesting that the saying you can't teach an old dog new tricks. He did actually learn a new trick last year. He learned occasionally how to hit the ball the other way, which he hasn't done throughout his career. And that's a Mark McGwire lesson. Some people want to say, oh, McGwire just tells people to hit the ball a long way. Actually, the guys that go to McGwire for help improve. Matt Kemp, last season in the doldrums, goes to McGwire, works a couple things out. Second half, puts up the kind of numbers that we're used to seeing Matt Kemp seeing. And actually, that's another thing is when he goes down to San Diego, he's not going to have access to as quality of a coaching staff. If he goes into a slump, then that's going to be a bigger problem for him in San Diego than it is here because I just don't think that they have the hitting instructors down there that we have here.
Yeah, you guys want to talk about the Padres and other teams in the West real quick, like a recap of what they did in the offseason?
Yeah, we can take a look at that. What do you think, Eric?
Sounds good to me.
I hate the Padres. I hate everything they've done. I think they have the worst offseason. They're just putting a big Band-Aid on an ugly girl's face.
Joe, it's funny. You know how everyone the last 2 years has told the Dodgers that you can't buy a championship, you can't do this, you can't do that?
Yep.
Or has everyone forgot to say that to the Padres?
Yeah, I mean, talk about injury risk. You got Matt Kemp, who's a walking ER room. Then you got Myers from Tampa Bay, who once was great prospect-wise, but now he's an injury concern with his wrist. Justin Upton's a head case. Plus, he's also got bad hamstrings and bad legs. Derek Norris is a walking concussion. Middlebrooks kind of cracked a box in the Red Sox third base. He couldn't beat out Euclid for a job. And not to put Eric down, but they have the same body right now.
The difference is that I'm not getting paid to play baseball.
I mean, yeah. So
You also look at the Padres lineup as well. I mean, you have Myers, who's only played 9 games in center field, and he's expected to man that big ass outfield in center.
Yeah, good luck with that, guys.
They have Yonder Alonso. Let's see, how did last year? Oh yeah, that's right. He missed most of the season, and the guy that replaced him is now a Dodger uniform.
What about Jerko?
Jerko, I think he's actually going to be one of the bright spots for them. I mean, he had a bad year last year. I expect him to kind of turn around. I think, as much as I'm not really a fan of what the Padres have done, we'd be foolish not to take them lightly.
I don't take them lightly. I look at the Padres as being a team that if everything clicks. This is the thing.
Who scares you though in the
If
rotation?
everything clicks, then they're very good. But you make the right point. If you look at their 1-5 against our 1-5, the only guy in their rotation that consistently freaks me out, and it's because he does well against us, is Andrew Kashner.
Yeah, but okay. Yes, but Castro's going to have to line up against Greinke every time we play them. Kershaw's going to line up against Shields. Who do you think's going to win that? And not only that, but each one of the guys we just mentioned are 200 strikeout potential guys.
True. San Diego.
You know what I think happened? I think the Atlanta Braves decided to work to move to San Diego.
That it is kind of the Atlanta Braves' former lineup. In fact, I was reading something the other day about how Atlanta managed over the course of the offseason to set away something like 40% of its strikeouts, offensively speaking.
And Ryan Walton brings up a good point, which I was going to bring up, but I refrained because I didn't want that boss to hang up and then drive up here and beat me. But Justin Turner, big candidate for regression this year. The Padres are scary. They already had good pitching last year, and their lineup isn't any better. And he didn't say that. I said that. Justin Turner had an amazing season last year.
Yeah, that's going to be hard to replicate, obviously.
Yeah, they expect a guy that was a 260, 270 hitter to, keep up hitting 340. Yeah, we're going to see some regression.
And which is fine because we have Van Slyke off the bench also, and Ethier, and Alex Guerrero possibly, which I know everybody doesn't really like, but he's a hitter. And we have all these bats. Like I'm not worried. Like usually I'm worried about the off. I'm worried. Like, oh, this is our hold. I can't find one. Like starting pitching. I mean, we have the depth. We have an abundance of starting pitchers. The bullpen, I mean, that's always an issue for every team, not just the Dodgers. And we have answers for those questions. Plus, if we really need to, we can throw money at it. Like, we can go get a Colorado or Soriano if we're in that dire of need. Nobody's jumping up to meet their salary demands, and these guys are going to wait for the Dodgers because, well, that's where they're going to get the most money. I don't see like a Rue as a 200-inning pitcher. I just don't see it.
Maybe 180
I think he's tapped out at 180. I actually think he's if they were to go after Zimmerman with two ends.
Well, I've proposed this trade before. And this is the only situation where I could see them letting go of Jock. If the Nationals want to do a package that involves Bryce Harper and Jordan Zimmerman for Hyun-Jin Ryu and Jock Peterson, maybe
they wouldn't do it.
They wouldn't do it, but if they did, I would pull the trigger like that.
Like that hurts me because I love Jock and I really like the way Harper plays baseball. But I mean, they might do it. We'd have to sweeten the pot a lot.
We'd have to probably throw.
I actually think Cole Hamels is a lot.
I would throw Zach Lee in on that trade.
Anderson, I would honestly. I know you love Grant Holmes in 92, but I think a Hamels deal gets done if you go Holmes, Anderson, and Sweeney. Amaro would have to be retarded to not take that deal.
Well, I think Amaro has already proven the Chief that he doesn't clearly know what he's doing because he's wanting to hold on to these dream trades to happen, and people it's like, okay, first of all, we know that you want to trade them.
Yeah, there goes your leverage.
Well, and what people seem to forget is that the Phillies teams that contended for titles, even though Amaro was the GM at the time, they were assembled by Pat Gillick, who has a championship pedigree. The back-to-back Toronto Blue Jays titles, the only championships won Major League Baseball by a Canadian team, those were Pat Gillick teams. And that Phillies team, even though Gillick wasn't around to see basically the fruit come off the tree in the GM role, those were teams that he assembled.
He planted those seeds.
He planted the seeds.
Just going with the whole tree thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then Bob just, looked like he was the genius behind it, and now he just shows, it just looks like a guy that's hold on too long, and now these guys are goods that are inspired or damaged, and he wants top of the line stuff. The only one that's not inspired or damaged is Cole Hamilton. Granted, yeah, okay, he wants a lot more. Well, you know what? I want $1 million. I ain't gonna get it.
Yeah, that's true.
If he wants to keep his job and bite the bullet and start making some trades to get other pieces, the Phillies have no infield depth besides Michael Franco, who's a third base prospect. They have no other infield depth. They have zero outfield depth. They have hardly any top pitching prospects that are ready to go. It's like, take a second tier kind of a trade to restock your farm system. Granted, is it the sexy trade that you want from Hamill? No. Is it probably going to help you this season? No. But at least you can start building in the right direction. They're not even, there is one of those, he's looking back and forth and like, oh, I want to see in the past, but I want to go to the future. And it's like, you got to make one decision as to where you're going to go, and he's stuck on, I want to do both.
Well, I guess to his advantage, he has a manager that's used to not winning the World Series in Ryan Sandberg. No offense to Rhino, the guy was a great professional, but obviously he never got to that ring, which is a shame. I mean, you would love to see a guy like that be able to at least claim that for himself, but.
He's killed us enough times, I don't care.
That's true. That's true.
We're at about an hour and 5, hour and 6.
That's true. We are coming up. We've come past an hour, and this battery on this thing, because I brought the laptop up, not plugged in, so we're down to the 33%.
We originally wanted to go 45, but we got a lot of comments and a lot of questions, which is awesome. We really want that and call in. So we're gonna go ahead and cut it now.
Right.
If you want to hear this playback, you didn't hear the start of it. It'll be on westcoastbiassports.com.
And we should have that tomorrow morning,
yeah.
Maybe afternoon at the latest, but we'll get that up to you.
Hold on.
Go for it.
One more thing. Great.
Yep.
What about the ticket thing? You said you were going to announce it.
Yes. Let's pick a winner.
And
give me 1 second. Let me go. You guys just.
Do we have a Vanna White there so that they can like this video?
We do have a Vanna White. We have Maria Barajas, who happened to write an article today, which had a lot of likes.
it did. It was that article was popping today.
What do you think about the offseason and everything that's going on? Do you have anything? She told me not to go to put her on the spot.
Maria needs to warm up in the bullpen before we bring her on.
She'll be on next week.
We will get her on in the future podcast, probably next week. If not next week, then at some point.
At some point.
She spoke.
Hey.
Anyway.
Okay, so we're gonna pick a winner. Give me 30 seconds.
30 seconds. So in the meantime, just so I can pretend like I'm doing an advertiser or something, because we probably want to have some of those. We just like to say that Dodgers Lowdown is looking forward to an exciting 2015 season. Myself, Ernie Villa, Eric Versalovic, Maria Barajas, and all of the folks at Dodgers Lowdown are looking to have some meetups and get-togethers. So if you have an idea for a meetup, for a get-together, and you'd like to work with us on that, you can contact me at Becker at WCBS. No, sorry. Sorry.
WCBS.
Actually, you know what? Scratch that. I'm going to give you the Gmail. BeckerWCBias@gmail.com. That's easier. And I can pronounce that more easily, too. I shouldn't say long strings of letters. It's a bad idea. But anyway, we would love to have all of you in some way get involved with us throughout the season, whether you're watching live or whether you're listening to the podcast. Just get involved with us throughout the season. Maybe even have some of you on the podcast as you see Maria and Ernie working out the ticket giveaway throughout, right now. But throughout the season, we're looking at possibly having some more of these giveaways.
We have a winner.
We do have a winner. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let Ernie announce that winner now. Ernie, who is our winner?
Congratulations to Michelle Esquivel.
Michelle Esquivel.
Yeah, there you go. That's the one.
All right. Congratulations, Michelle Esquivel.
If you have to be listening, we'll probably post your name on there later so we can
We'll make
go
sure.
and get you the tip. But we will be doing a lot more giveaways like this. Just you got to stay tuned and stay posted and keep sharing and liking, and it only helps your chances.
Indeed. So
Congratulations again to Michelle Esquivel.
Michelle Esquivel.
There
So
I can't say that word.
on that note, if you've enjoyed watching the podcast tonight, or you happen to be picking this up tomorrow, and you've got topics, you've got questions, go ahead and send them in.
Shout out to Jesus.
Shout
Happy
out
Ash Friday.
I
I mean Wednesday, but it's Thursday.
That was me.
Oh Jesus.
Oh, Jesus. But we look forward to hearing from all of you, and stay tuned. We got more coming. So for Ernie Villa, Maria Barajas, Eric Versalovic on the phone, I'm Eric Becker, and good night, everyone, from Dodgers Lowdown.
Good night.
Good